Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Well, today's video, I think we're going to be doing a little bit of a little opening here, and then probably do some cutting. So, James sent me a box, which I believe is just going to have some Thundereggs in it that we're going to be cutting for him. Maybe we're going to send some of them back. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see what we have in store here. Oh, I should really sharpen this knife, huh? There we go. There we go. Okay. So, he said that he had some Thundereggs from Richardson's that need to do some cutting on. They're probably a little too big for his saw. So let's get these guys opened here. We can give them a look, and then we can determine the best means of cutting them. So it looks like we're going to have 6 Thundereggs here. That is definitely a Thunderegg. That is for sure a Thunderegg. Kind of more classic Richardson's ranch. Now, I haven't been to Richardson's. That's in Central Oregon. They are closed to public digging now, but you can certainly buy their Thundereggs. I would love to even go by the shop at some point. Yeah, that's a classic Thundereggs. They have that kind of knobby appearance and stuff. Yeah, that one, I wish I could describe the weight of it. They just have such like a dense feeling to them. Yeah, they're very cool to even just hold. Like, it feels like you're holding like a super solid softball, you know? Ooh, and that appears to be three for the price of one. Looks like we've got a big guy, a little guy, and a little guy. You can kind of see some of that there. I think this stuff will kind of pop off. That kind of looks like some of that crusty opal that you can see out there. I don't have anything to really poke at that. Let me grab something. Yeah, so that's just kind of this crumbly opal that's going to be on the outside of the Thunderegg. Well, I think a couple of these we might be able to just put in the saw as is. I might do a little cleaning on them, try to get some of the stuff off. So I think first step is see what I can put in my saw, and then clean them up, and we might have to make a holder. Now, a Thunderegg holder has kind of been on my, yeah, we'll get all this loose stuff off. We don't want this stuff ending up in the saw, you know? No need to gunk up the saw. When we're done, we'll kind of maybe get it closer to that. I've needed a holder, a Thunderegg holder, for a while. So essentially, it's a way of clamping this in place and getting a perfect center line cut on it. That'll be a fun project, but yeah, first step, cleaning. So after just a couple of minutes of poking at it with my super advanced technical picking tool, you can see I've just broken off a fair amount of stuff. Now, you don't have to do this. You could just throw these in a saw. You could just do whatever you want with them. But I prefer to, you know, not let this stuff end up in my saw. So next, throw them in a bucket. We're just going to let them sit out in the sun today and get some of this more flaky stuff off of it. In the meanwhile, I will be building a Thunderegg holder. I think I have most of the stuff sitting around the shop to be able to clamp these in place, these awkward shapes, like maybe, you know, like this guy, and get a nice center ringed cut. We got to do a little bit of design work, but it should be pretty fun and simple. You know, put them in here. As a general rule of thumb, regardless of what you're trying to clean, I always start with some soapy water and see what a little soaking and some water will do before moving on to anything else. For these Thundereggs, just to get some of that shattered up rhyolite and opal off, I'm going to end it with soapy water. So let's kind of examine a Thunderegg a little bit. This is one that I would like to also cut, but I have a problem, right? So the way my saw, the vise, clamps is I would probably have to clamp it right about here on the inside, right? Which means I can't actually cut this down the middle because I have about a 1/4 inch gap between my vise in the saw and the blade. So you're always going to cut these Thundereggs off center. So I need a clamp that would, I don't have another thing here. How about this? I need a clamp that holds on both sides with a gap down the middle so that I can line up the Thunderegg and cut a straight line down it and do that. So that means we've got to do some designing and tweaking and make it so that we can, well, we can take this type of Thunderegg here, clamp it, and cut a flawless line around the, I don't know, the biggest part. Because cutting a Thunderegg around the biggest part is going to produce the best looking Thunderegg, right? Like we want to expose as much of the material as possible. I mean, could I clamp it like this and cut it that way? Sure, I absolutely could. But obviously you're going to be exposing less of the agate and opal or whatever's on the inside of your Thunderegg. You'll be exposing less of it. Specialty clamp. So let me show you what I have going on. I have a 14-inch saw blade, which means realistically I can cut a 5.5 inch Thunderegg. As we can see here, like this one, we are under 4 inches. This ruler has actually got an offset on it, so that's why I'm holding it up a little bit. Yeah, we're a little under 4 inches. So this is considered a decent sized Thunderegg, and that's probably the ones that I'll be finding in the future, along with ones that I already have in stock. So we need to be able to cut something that's 5.5 inches, and here's a side profile of the clamping system. There will be a base unit, which will have the Thunderegg, and then a top unit, which will go down this all thread and clamp in place, holding the Thunderegg on some wooden or plastic blocks, and you can clamp it all down. There will also be, I guess I didn't draw it, I'm going to have a piece of metal coming off to the side to be able to clamp it in the vise. I have a top-down vise, and this is just my initial thoughts. I'm by no means reinventing the wheel here. Clamp systems for Thundereggs like this already exist. I'm kind of borrowing from their designs, and as I go through the thought process of creating this thing, I will tweak it and make the modifications as I see fit. So once again, then there will be a piece of metal coming over here, and that's what will get clamped in the vise, and it should work. Fingers crossed, should work. I am not going to jump right into this though. Kind of my process is I will design something and then think about it for a day or so, look at other people's designs, whatever, and then cut everything that I need cut, kind of look at it a little mocked up, and then break out the welder. We do have some welding to do. Most of this will be using some all thread that I already had laying around. It's always, of course, good to have scrap. What is that? Some 3/4 by half mild steel and some angle iron. What was that, like 1 inch angle? So to make this system rigid, there'll be angle iron here, here. That's the top. That's the top. So bottom will also be angle iron. That's what this represents. So this bottom piece will be 2 pieces of 1 inch angle, and should work out good. I'm going to think about it, like I said, and then do all my cutting in the morning, and we'll go from there. Okay, so this looks a little wacky right now. We got a lot of fixturing happening, and boy oh boy, have I forgotten a lot about fabrication. It's a perishable skill for sure. Right now I'm getting my threaded rod all lined up, and I'm doing that by using the upper one clamped in place, and then I can come in and tack weld here, and then before fully welding it, I can do any adjustments and make sure the top piece will be able to lift up and down off of it. So yeah, that. Well, what to say? Mistakes were made. First pancake, right? But you can kind of see some of what I did and kind of my thinking behind some of this. Obviously, it takes a very brave man to show his welds on YouTube. So I'm going to try not to do that. In many ways, well, I kind of forgot. I forgot a lot of the key steps to to welding. But here you can kind of see we got the top half, the recycled plastic cutting board. Now I know some people are going to be like, that's not going to work. I've seen a number of people use plastic jaws instead of wood. So yeah, I'm going to try it. It's one thing to buy into the whole it's not going to work thing. It's another thing to go out and try it yourself, you know? And that's just the way that goes, right? So, obviously when I was building this, I probably put a little bit too much heat into some aspects of it. And well, got a little bit of warping, but I don't think it's going to affect it much. And I'll tighten this down and then we can chat about why it looks the way it looks. And then we're going to take it over to the saw. And, well, the proof is in, will it securely hold the Thunderegg and clamp both sides without pinching on the saw blade? I'll show you what I mean. So here you can kind of see we have the old mark from the flange, but you can see that we need additional space to pass into the vise to be able to clear the Thunderegg. And, you know, get this thing set up in the saw next, and, well, we'll give it a cut. So this is going to be the first trial run. You can kind of see I've already checked my clearances, and we should be good here. The Thunderegg should clear the saw blade, no problems. I'm going to back it out now, and then get this thing all chucked up, get it in here, get it lined up, make sure everything's going to be good, and yeah, and that. So you can kind of see now why we have this excess space in the clamp. You know, with the egg being held on both sides, right? It's not like a piece is going to fall and you got to hear it. You're going to be purely relying on the cutoff on the saw. So you can kind of see here, I can back it all the way out, move it over. Slow process, I know. Line it up to get it to cut straight in the middle. Push it in. Make sure there's no deflection in the blade. If there is, I'd readjust. Double check make sure everything's good and tight. I don't think this Thunderegg's moving anywhere. But, you know, tighten the vise down. Back it off just a hair. You don't want to start it in contact with the blade. Back it off just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, we'll fire this thing up. I'm going to stay out here during the whole cut and not rely on the cutoff. Just in case anything happens, I can always shut down the machine as fast as possible. You could certainly hear as it was cutting, maybe it was going through some voids. The sound has certainly changed a little bit, and you could hear when it got all the way through, and it appears like we did good here. My question is, can I slide this back without making the blade really spin? If that's the case, it's not really getting a lot of side pressure, which is good. Nope. Well, let's see. Let's undo this guy like in here, you know. Yeah, there's a little bit of side pressure with that. Gotta do the fancy reveal all at the same time, right? That's the way it's gotta go. If I can get this out without seeing it. There we go. What? That's awesome. That's amazing. Let's get this in the kitty litter, and maybe we'll cut another one. Before we get to the Thundereggs that we cut, let's look at this. So, I would say that overall, I've learned a couple of things with this. First off, I learned that the cutting board plastic makes for an excellent vise. I'm definitely going to make some for my slab saw next. Those oak jaws that I currently have in it are a little torn up. So that was a learning curve. The vise makes this sit below the rim of my basin for my saw. So I couldn't fully pull this all the way back, so I had to make a shim. So that's a learning curve, you know. It is a big oily mess when you take it out of your saw, obviously. So that's something to think about. You got to keep it in. I'm going to keep in this little bin. You know, if you're a follower here on the channel, you may know that every single winter for the past like 3 years, I've built a progressively better rock gem scoop until I kind of came up with what I feel like is the highest quality, cost-effective, perfect rock scoop. So I don't know how I would improve on that. However, I think my new project is every winter building a new clamping system for holding round rocks in vises. I think this is an excellent option. Okay, excellent option. I see some downsides. I see some upsides to some other designs. So that is something that we will be contending with in the future. In the meantime, I'm going to use it some more and, you know, see how it goes. I mean, this is a big learning project, right? There's not exactly high quality blueprints out there to follow. Well, let's put that aside for right now. Let's look at some Thundereggs. Look at that Thunderegg. Come on. Pretty, very pretty. Obviously, these Richardson Ranch Thundereggs are some of the best Thundereggs out there. I think all I'll do is I'll take it out in the sun, take a nice photo for you. You can look at that. Excellent detail with the chalcedony, some agate, some little eyes at the bottom, the opal. Beautiful specimen. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Well, next up there's one that you didn't see that I cut. And we have a nice blue egg here with some scratches, unfortunately. I don't know what happened in the saw. That's something for me to investigate. But that would be something easily sanded out on the high-speed sander. So, as I slowly acquire a mass of tools to work with these Thundereggs, it'll get better with time, you know. It's all a learning curve. That's what we do here. We learn stuff. So, thank you for coming by, watching the videos, you know. Thank you, James, for sending the Thundereggs. This is very appreciated. They will be test subjects in future vise construction. And if anybody wants to build a vise just like that, if you want some measurements, stuff like that, happy to help in any way possible. All right, everybody, take care. Thank you so much for watching my entire video. If you like the content that I'm producing here on this channel and you want to support the content even further, You can do so by becoming a channel member by hitting the join button down below. The membership comes with a growing library of exclusive videos and just great other extra content. So just follow the links down below, and I will see you on the next video.